Hello and welcome to a Rotted Review of the Day, and today I am taking a look at the 2000 sequel to Jack Frost 2 Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. Now, if you watched my review yesterday of Jack Frost, you might recall that I enjoyed it enough. It was a stupid, bad, silly premise. There wasn't really any getting around it, but I did think it was entertaining and fun on a level to at least laugh at. So the real question is, would the sequel maintain that momentum and that vibe to it? And the quick answer to that is absolutely not. It was terrible on all counts, and it is absolutely worth passing by. I was expecting it to be bad. I was not expecting it to be this bad. It took everything that I liked about the first one, which admittedly was not a whole lot, and it threw it down the toilet. So to get into more details of this one, let's get into the categories. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And the plot of this one, I gave a 2 out of 25. This was somehow worse on a plot level than the first one. In this case, the mutant killer snowman has been dug up. He was contained in antifreeze jars or jugs and kept in a secret unmarked grave, and he was dug up by whomever and run through chemical processes until he was finally brought back to life for some reason. And then apparently because he now has a connection with the sheriff in the first film, he follows him through the ocean to a Caribbean island on a holiday that the sheriff is taking with his close family and friends. And the snowman murderous, what have you, start taking place on this island. It was as bad as it sounds. Honestly, it was worse than it sounds. It just terrible writing all around. Nothing about the plot made any sense. It was just bad, bad, bad. The intent, now this is one where the first one shined through. It knew what it wanted to be, and it was spectacularly. And this one, I think it had a massive crisis of identity, and I gave it 5 out of 25 points as opposed to I believe it was 20 out of 25 in the first one. And the 5 points that I do give it is mostly for having somewhat halfway entertaining kills sometimes. It's really about the best I can do there. And this is the point where I want to discuss the importance of dichotomy. This is a formula that has been tried and true in the entertainment business for as long as the entertainment business has existed. Dichotomy is extraordinarily important. It's the same reason that, even back to the vaudevillian days, comedians would employ straight men, as in people that played the roles seriously that they could bounce off of. And I'm just going to kind of go off the top of my head here, but I want to say that it was Abbott and Costello, where Lou Costello was talking about Bud Abbott and saying that comedians are a dime a dozen. It's a good straight man that's tough to find. And I think that there's an element of truth to that. One of the reasons I really liked the first movie, really liked is a stretch, but the portions of it I did like, were because the roles were played with a sense of seriousness to them. The situation was absolutely intolerably silly, but the characters in the movie treated the situations with a sense of seriousness. The sheriff was trying to protect the town. He wasn't, saying one-liners and winking at the camera. He wasn't in on the joke, and that was important. That allowed for the dichotomy of having serious situations play out on screen to let the absurdity of the premise shine through, and thus the joke is made. In this case, everybody was in on the joke and was playing it up to the camera, and it just wasn't fun at that point. It it provided no dichotomy between the protagonist and the killer. Killer can get away with being a little cheesy, playing to the camera a bit, having the silly one-liners, but when everybody does it, it's not fun anymore. It's laughing at its own joke, and that just gets old. And that's exactly what this movie did and why it failed so badly. More than anything else, like I said, I was expecting a bad movie, but I wasn't expecting a movie that knew it was bad and played to it as its own self-laughing joke. It's just not fun. The acting, I gave a 1 out of 25. This was just terrible, over the top, all around. Everybody that did an admirable job in the first one came back and, again, was just playing it up and over the top, and it just wasn't fun to watch. That's the only thing that really could have saved a movie that had such a bad premise to it. I mean, Killer Snowman in the Caribbean. The only thing that could have saved it was a sense of fun, and it threw it out the window in every sense, including the acting. The technical, I gave a 3 out of 25. I would hate to be the person that had to mop up after this movie. This just had gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of various viscous fluids. But that doesn't make for a good technical achievement. This had pretty cheesy attempts at gore and cheesy attempts at effects. But moreover, the thing that really took me out of this is a tropical Caribbean island resort paradise, vacation away from home. And it looked like the entire thing was filmed in somebody's big backyard. This Caribbean resort consisted of a grand total of 20 people, employees and guests all told. It was just really, really technically bad. It was the kind of thing that you would expect to see on a Saved by the Bell vacation special. It's not the kind of thing that you expect to see out of a full-length motion picture, even though it was direct-to-video. It still was pretty laughably bad in all technical aspects, but mostly the set was... unbelievable is an understatement. That gives us a grand total of 11 out of 100 points. This was just not worth watching on any level, even to laugh at. Again, when it's in on the joke and it makes fun of itself and it plays to the camera and everybody is over the top, it's just not fun anymore. And when you can't have a movie like this be fun, then you failed on a pretty spectacular level, as this one did. But that should about do it for my review of 2000's Jack Frost 2 Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. Really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.